All right, today we're going to untangle something huge, a massive shift in how our modern world is actually built. We're talking about a real battle of the titans. The old, clunky way of controlling machines, think a tangled mess of wires, versus the new, smart way that completely changed the game. Let's dive right in.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered how an entire factory line, like a car plant or a giant bottling facility, knows exactly what to do second by second? I mean, you've got thousands of parts, robots, conveyors, all moving in perfect sync. How does that even happen? What's the conductor of this massive mechanical orchestra? Well, the answer comes down to the control system.
And really, it boils down to two totally different ways of thinking. On one side, you've got what we call classic control. I want you to picture a giant wall panel, just a complex web of physical wires and relays. Every single action is hardwired. It's all hardware, pure and simple. But on the other side, you have PLC control, and this is where it gets cool. All that wiring, that whole wall panel, gets replaced by a single intelligent programmable brain. Okay, so that leads us right to the star of our show today. What is this little magic box? This thing that replaced an entire wall of wires? Let's break down what a PLC actually is. You know, the name itself pretty much gives it all away. It's a programmable logic controller. So programmable because you can change what it does just by writing new code. Logic because it makes decisions based on inputs, simple stuff like, if this sensor is on, then turn that motor off. And controller because, well, its entire job is to control a process. Think of it as a super rugged, specialized computer built to survive on the factory floor. Honestly, the best way to get this is to think of it like a smartphone, but for machines, right? Before smartphones, you had a separate camera, a physical map, a paper calendar, all these different physical things. Now, one device does it all, thanks to software, to apps. A PLC does literally the exact same thing for a factory. So you might be thinking, okay, if PLCs are so amazing, why would anyone ever use the old way? And that's a fair question. The truth is, for a really simple, unchanging task, think about your garage door opener. That old-school classic control can actually be cheaper and works just fine. But the second you add any real complexity, the scale tips. And it tips hard in favor of the PLC. And that right there is the deciding factor. It all comes down to the size and complexity of the process. If you're just controlling one little motor, yeah, wires are fine. But if you're trying to control an entire assembly line, you need a brain. You absolutely need a PLC. So, let's get into the nitty-gritty of why PLCs completely took over. We're going to break down the 6 game-changing advantages that really sparked a revolution in modern automation. And just so we're clear, we are not talking about little, minor upgrades here. Every single one of these 6 reasons represents a massive leap forward, a fundamental shift in how we build and manage industrial systems. So let's jump into the first 2. First up, solid-state reliability. The old classic controls use these mechanical relays. You could literally hear them clicking open and shut. And because they had moving parts, they would wear out and eventually fail. A PLC, on the other hand, is solid-state. It uses transistors, no moving parts. That makes them ridiculously reliable. And number 2, this one might be the biggest game changer of them all, unmatched flexibility. I mean, just look at this. It says it all. Imagine you need to change something simple, like the timing on a conveyor belt. With the old system, you'd call an electrician who might spend hours, maybe even a full day, physically ripping out and rewiring the control panel. With a PLC, a technician plugs in a laptop, uploads a new piece of software, and it's done in minutes. Being able to change an entire process just by changing code, that's not just an improvement, it's absolutely revolutionary. All right, next up, reason number 3 is just pure physics, compact size. A single little PLC can replace a hardware panel the size of a refrigerator, packed with relays and wires. That's a huge amount of factory floor space you just got back. And number 4 is all about being smart, communication. Since a PLC is basically a computer, it has a microprocessor. That means it can easily connect and talk to other devices, other computers, creating a truly connected, smart factory. Okay, and the last 2 advantages are absolutely massive when it comes to cost and maintenance. Number 5, built-in software tools. See, in the old system, if you needed a timer or a counter, you had to buy a physical timer, a physical counter, and wire them in. In a PLC, those are just software. They're just code. You can have hundreds of them, and they don't cost you an extra dime. And finally, number 6, rapid diagnostics. Oh man, this one's huge. When a classic system breaks, you could have an engineer hunting for hours with a multimeter trying to find the one bad wire. A PLC, it just tells you what's wrong right on a screen. Problem found, instantly.
And just think about what that does to your project shopping list. It goes from this long list of timers, counters, relays, wires, all this stuff, to basically one item, the PLC. That simplifies everything, from the design to the inventory you have to keep to the final installation. The savings in both money and time are just staggering.
And this quote really nails why that diagnostics feature is so critical. In manufacturing, downtime is the enemy. Every single minute a production line is stopped, it can cost a company thousands and thousands of dollars. So the ability of a PLC to pinpoint a problem instantly and get things running again, well, that's not just a nice feature, it's an almost priceless advantage. So when you stack all 6 of those advantages up, it becomes crystal clear. The PLC didn't just improve industrial control. No way. It completely redefined it from the ground up. It's the technology that paved the way for the incredibly complex, automated world we all live in today.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's simple, really. PLCs replace the complex, tangled world of physical wiring with simple, elegant code. They're way more reliable and infinitely more flexible. They save space, they save time, and they save a ton of money. At the end of the day, PLCs are the brains behind pretty much all of modern automation.
And that kind of leaves us with one final big thought to chew on. The PLC's real triumph was turning a messy physical problem into a clean software problem. It proved that one small, programmable box could do the work of an entire wall of hardware. So it makes you wonder, right? What other huge physical challenges out there are just waiting for someone to solve them with the right piece of code?